Hey, party people. So, I know that I went live yesterday and talked about hair. Um, but I wanted to touch base on something um, that, I mean, even the most politically and just hermits would notice the current climate and unrest in the country. Um, Even out here in Podunk, we, when you go to the bigger cities, um, which aren't really big at all compared to the ones that are on the news, um, there are protests and, um, you know, events and things happening that, relate to the Black Lives Matter movement. And something very poignant kind of hit home with me today because I've always been not against Black Lives Matter because I agree they do. I've always been more of a humanist where all lives matter to me. And then I saw something from one of the protests. It was on my mom's Facebook feed because, as you guys know, I don't have Facebook. And it said, we said, the first line, it's this pretty little black girl holding the sign. It said, we said Black Lives Matter. That's the first line of the board. And then the second line said, we never said only Black Lives Matter. And that kind of stuck with me because, I agree. I don't care what color you are, black, brown, blue, pink, green, purple, extraterrestrial, Terran, earth being, animal, vegetable, mineral. Not to say that I don't eat meat or veggies, but, you get the idea. Like, what you identify as, who you are, it doesn't matter. I think all lives matter. And so thinking that I wasn't part or in congruence with the Black Lives Matter movement, it kind of struck me when I saw that sign because that's true. They never said that only Black Lives Matter. But at current, it is the Black and brown communities that are being most affected by, not only the police brutality, but even the coronavirus is going after the people of color. Like, what the Froggle Rock is that about? Right? It's a virus. You would think it would be equal opportunity more than anything, but it's not. So, right now, they need our help to speak up. They need us to be able to help them. And that's part of what it said. I wish I could find that again. I'll ask my mom, and if I can find it, I will post it somehow to Facebook, or not to Facebook, YouTube. But it was very, very poignant, and it really hit home for me because, if you are an all lives matter believer, or if you're a Christian for that matter, and you believe that God's creation, no matter what color, is God's creation, and therefore only God has the right to judge them, just as he only has the right to judge you. Okay? Then you're on this train too. So, it doesn't really matter what you call it because it's all the same thing. And so you can't be that person who sticks by, well, only my catchphrase matters. No, boo-boo. No. Because if you're an all lives matter person, or if you're a humanist, or any sort of major constructive religion in the world who believes that existence is sacred, the Christians, the Muslims, the Jews, the Catholics, the pagans, Druids, every major religion in history, from what I can tell, except for the people that did human sacrificing, which I can't think of off the top of my head. Correct me whenever you want. They all believed that life was sacred. Your life, animals' life, plant life, earth. The planet we live on is alive and it's sacred. So if you have any of these beliefs, it doesn't matter what you call it. Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, humanism, all lives matter. It doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is if you back it up. So, being a humanist, I do believe that Black Lives Matter, and I am with that cause. And I am going to stand with my brothers and sisters of all colors and communities and religious faiths, sexual identities, but mostly my Black brothers and sisters who are having to struggle so much, not just now, but throughout history. Okay, but being a single mom and being in Podunk, it's really hard to protest from where I am because it's just me. So I am moving to my digital platform to stand up for change in this country, because being an officer of the law does not make you above the law. So it doesn't matter what you feel personally, because any professional in the world will tell you need to check your personal stuff at the door. You could work at McDonald's and you need to check your personal stuff at the door. But if you're someone in a place of power, or someone who is meant to protect and defend the people of this country or any country in the world, you above all should be checking your personal feelings at the door and doing what you are supposed to be doing, not what you feel like doing, not because you're pissed off and you had a fight with whoever and so you're just going to take it out on the first person you can who you don't like, because in the back of your head you're actually a racist, and so you automatically assume that all people of color are, terrorists or gangsters or criminals or right? You can't do that. And you don't have the right. Being an officer does not make you God. You don't have the right to take somebody's life ever. Ever. I don't care. Okay? So if you have a problem with people of color, don't be a police officer. Because as you can see in the news right now, and it's not happening fast enough, but I am glad that it's happening, these officers are being sent to prison and being charged with murder. So being a cop, it's not the 1950s, 1960s anymore. Being a cop is not going to get you off of a murder charge anymore. So if you think that that's the only reason you're going to be a cop is because you can torture people of color, please get a new line of work. Like, I don't know, porta potty cleaner, because then you can mistreat things of a brown color all you want and no one's going to give a damn how you treat the poo, because you're in with your own element at that point. Okay, but people are humans, are people, no matter what color they are on the outside, no matter how much melanin is in their genetic system, they are still people. Okay, now I'm going to get a little personal here. I have 3 children. 2 of them, a set of twins, are highlighter, clear, translucent kind of white. Okay, but my older daughter is a brown baby. And she turns almost black in the summer because she does not burn in the sun. She just gets darker and darker and darker and darker. So I have a personal stake in equality and in anti-racism because I don't want my baby to have to grow up like that. I don't want people using racial slurs on her and her having to wonder if there's something wrong with her because she's a different color. We already had to go through that when she was little because mommy is pasty gray white and she is a beautiful carmelado color and she's Panamanian, you know? She's not black, she's not Hispanic, she's Panamanian. I don't know what that qualifies under other than Central America. That's all I got. But to be completely honest, she's my baby. I don't care what color she is. So, you know, she's healthy, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, and she's an amazing human being. So, you know, if you can't tolerate the people in your neighborhood, don't live there. You know, quite frankly, and this is going to sound kind of rude, but kind of not. If all of the white supremacists in the world wanted to go live on a desert island together and just have an all-white community, that'd be great because then we'd know where the next nuclear test site should be. As a species, the human race has been able to evolve from rocks and sticks because of our ability to learn from our mistakes. It's just like when you're teaching your babies not to touch the stove. You got to let them do it once, you know, be there, be quick, but you got to let them do it once because how are they going to learn? Oh, that burns. I shouldn't do that again. Okay, well, we've been through apartheid. We've been through the times of Martin Luther King, and we've been through the segregation crap already. So the people who are in power, or at least consider themselves in power, need to pull their heads out of their six and actually realize that this is, excuse me while I do the math in my head, 80 years later, 40, 60, crap, I don't know. It's a while. It's been decades, people. People who were kids during, you know, segregation are now old enough to be my grandparents. So let's move the hell on. Pull up your big girl panties and get used to the fact and start respecting the fact that this nation in particular was designed on the concept of a melting pot, okay? It was designed that way. That was the whole purpose, was for people to be able to come here and start fresh, a new life. And frankly, not to get all historical on you, but it was your dumb asses that went to Africa, put those people on ships and turned them into slavery and dragged their asses here in the first place. You brought them here. So you can't complain that they're here. You did it. And you cannot be judging on people for making the best life that they can under your horrific regime to start with. Okay? I grew up in a military family, and there are people of all races, all backgrounds, all ethnicities in the military. Okay? And it was all hands on deck. There was no, you know, everybody for themselves rubbish. It was if your neighbor needed help, it didn't matter if you knew them or not. It didn't matter if you know, if they were the same color as you or the same age or anything. You helped each other in the community. And I had Black friends growing up. I had Asian friends growing up. I had Hispanic friends and Pacific Island friends. There were people of every race and creed on the base. And then when I hit 5th or 6th grade, my dad retired, and we ended up moving off base to this local weirdness of a town that there were no people of color and barely any brown people. Like, there were no black people in this town. And very few brown people, of which my stepmom and my two brothers were 3. So, growing up in a mixed color family, it was so bizarre to come to an entire town right outside the base's boundaries and see nothing but white people. So, if you can't get over the culture shock that happened 400 years ago, then why are you here? Because I can't think of a single country in the world that doesn't have black people, or brown people, or Asians, or Pacific Islanders, or people that are going to be different from you. So I don't get it. I really don't. Anyway, I'm done ranting and tangenting, and I'm not actually sure that any of that was connected conversation, but I've spoken my piece. And since I can't protest because it will do very little from here, one of the ways that I have always been able to express myself is through music. And I'm going to challenge everyone to speak out in your own way, and to the people who are rioting, there is a difference between protesting and rioting. Protesting is legal, rioting is not, okay? And I get standing, and I get staying, and I get holding your ground. But the rocks and the bricks and the beatings and the fires, we are better than that. As a species, as a community. I mean, if you are in your city and you're standing up for that city, and you find out that people not from your city are going to be there and trash your neighborhood, quite frankly, I'm ashamed of the people who aren't turning around, grabbing those people by the collar and going, "Get out." Because all it's going to do, all people are going to see, not the protesters who are doing it peacefully and properly and getting the right message across. They're just going to see the fires and the broken windows and the people who are scared of protesters now. But that's not it. They're not you. The people doing the rioting and the fighting and the fires and the looting, that's not what you went out for. You went out to stand up for every single black person who has been wrongfully killed and abused by people in power just because they are a different color. Not for a good reason. Okay, don't get me wrong. There are some people who deserve to get belted in the face, but for a reason. But nobody has the right to kill anyone else just because they want to. No, we have a court for that. That is what the judicial system is for. Not law enforcement. They are not judge, jury, and executioner. This is not Judge Dredd. I am sorry. That is not what this is about. Okay? There are ways to do it, and there are ways to not do it. But to all you protesters, legit, honest to God, Black Lives Matter protesters, I get that I'm a white person, and my opinion probably doesn't matter a whole hell of a lot to you right now, but I stand with you guys, not the rioters, not the looters, not the violent people who are just out there to hurt. I stand with you guys. But in standing with you, since I can't stand there physically next to you, please, please, please do not let these chronic asshats screw up the message you're trying to send out. If you hear somebody who's trying to make trouble in your legitimate protest, please turn around and walk their asses out of the city limits, Or better yet, grab them up and go hand their asses to the police. Because all they're going to do is get innocent people hurt and killed for nothing and completely smear the image of what you're trying to say. You guys need to be just as mindful of the people in your group or in your area that are trying to start strife as you do of the police. Because just like not all the police are shady, not all the people in your protesting group are going to be legit. So if you don't want the police to police them, then you guys need to police them. You guys need to stand up and say, look, you're here just to cause some shit and you need to leave. And if they won't leave, put it on Facebook. Put it on social media. Record their asses, get their faces, get their names, drag them wholeheartedly over to the police and go, here's the guy with the bricks. We're going to go protest quietly over here now. Because all they're doing is completely ruining your message. Okay? Seriously. I mean, if we're going to police the police, we have to be able to police ourselves. So keep an eye out, keep your head down, stay safe. Okay? And my challenge for music is I don't care if you sound like American Idol winner, or if you sound like the Chipmunks, or if you sound like the guy who sang Gundam Style, okay? I want you to post a video or a recording of you singing a song that inspires you. Something that will bring out the humanity, that brings out the humanity in you, that brings out the humanity, in your perspective. I have a bunch of them. And I can't really even decide like which one to do because I like all of them, but I think that a song and a prayer is in order for this kind of climate and circumstance. So I am going to do Amazing Grace. I have a bunch of them, and every time I post, I'm going to do a different one. I think I have like 8 right now that I've found that I really like. I have thousands of songs on my phone, so I haven't been able to go through all of them. But I'm just going to turn on that My Humanity playlist is what I call it. And if you hate my singing, hit mute. So, and then I'm also going to do a makeup look because I have a crap ton of makeup and nothing to do except talk to you guys about thoughts, feelings, prayers, peace. Please, please keep the peace in your heart. No matter where you come from, keep the peace in your heart. And I stand with you. And if there's any way that I can help more from here, let me know. I know I'm not a huge celebrity. I'm not a celebrity at all. I'm not even known. And I'm with you. I'm praying for you. And I hope that whatever God you believe in walks with you every night that you're out, puts peace in your heart, and watches over you, and also guides your mind to make the right decisions and not those out of anger and hate and frustration and all the emotions that come with it. So, thanks for listening. Here we go. Watermelon Burst Hydration Primer. The intro is playing in my ear, so hold please. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Was grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears believed. How precious did the grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already known 'twas grace that taught us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home, and grace will lead us home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. Thank you for listening if you stayed all the way through. I do appreciate it a lot. I know I'm not the best singer, but it's the words of the song, the meaning behind it, that really matter. I can tell you that my favorite rendition of Amazing Grace has always been in gospel, which is another reason why, I want to support that. Something that I heard in a movie actually really struck with me. The quote is, "This girl doesn't sing that way because she's had it easy." And gospel came out of slavery and murder and exploitation, and it is so gorgeous. And I think that raising your voice up, raising up your hand and saying no more, but also raising your heart and remembering that, you know, the thing that humanity is missing nowadays is humanism. It's missing it horribly. So, if you can put a little humanity in your protest, I feel like it would probably boost your efficacy. There's so many talented people, and I wonder if there's anybody in the communities or even in the celebrity area who could write songs using the names of those who've died. I mean, there are so many talented writers and lyricists and musicians. Because how powerful would it be if at the protests you were saying the names and putting forward your message, but in song? Because how many times has there been like the song, right? Like the song on the radio and it just came out and you hear it the one time and it resonates with you and it stays and it's stuck in your head and you can't get rid of it. That would be so powerful and so amazing, I think. And again, as a person of not color, I can't even imagine what people of color have to go through because, like I said, growing up in a military base, I didn't see any of that. There was no racism where I grew up, right? This is my protecting tinted moisturizer in case anybody cares. Because it's totally not important. You know what? I'll just list the crap I'm using on my face at the bottom because it's so not important. Like, not even close to the topic of this video. I'm just doing my makeup to have something to do. Anyhow, that would just be so incredibly powerful because, like I said, we didn't have racism on the military base. There was kind of like a class system, but that's simply out of rank, but it wasn't really class like, upper class, middle class, lower class. It was class system like, private, sergeant, captain, admiral, grand poobah. I never paid very much attention to the ranking system. But it was just, Sergeant Jimenez or, Captain Jones. My best friend in elementary school before we had to move off base, her name was Monique Jones. Her dad was a captain, which if you look at the ranking system of the U.S. military, is not exactly a starting rank. So her dad has been busting his ass, no matter what color it is, and is outranking most of the white boys on base. Think about that. So, we didn't see it as they're black, they're Asian, they're Pacific Islander, they're Filipino. The only time you even noticed that somebody was different is if they had an accent when they talked. That was it. Or if you were the butt ugly duckling in the classroom, no matter what grade you were in, and your freaking sister was a damn prom queen from birth, that's when people noticed you were different. Hi, ugly duckling here. So, we never noticed color. My first crush ever on the planet, his name was Terrence Walker, and he was black, and he was gorgeous. I'm not even gonna lie. And he was such a gentleman. He was the first person not related to me who was ever nice to me to start with. And he was also the first person not related to me to tell me I was beautiful. Mind you, this was like second, third grade, but hey, it still meant something because I still remember his name. I almost remember his face, but I'm really bad with like my memory from before I was 12 is crap for varying personal reasons that are not important for this video. So, you know, I don't get this outside world, you know. And then what's worse is the fact that the government is bringing in the National Guard, who are part of the military culture, and almost turning them against black people or people of color at all, or really just the protesters. You know, I saw something the other day, and I don't remember if it was just on Snapchat or Google News. I don't know. But, and I could be misreading it altogether. So if I get it wrong, please don't hate my face. I already hate my face enough, but just don't hate me. But it said something like, I think it was a white supremacist was saying, if you're white and you're protesting, then as far as we're concerned, you're black and expendable or some crap like that. I'm paraphrasing. And it's like, so these people don't even care if you are Caucasian or not. They care if you are going to lay down and kiss their feet. It's like, I know a bunch of Caucasian people who are marching in every city and who are, participating in the protests and the call for change and everything. And, all these people that are causing the problems are like, well, we don't care if you're white. We care that you're helping the enemy. And it's like, well, that's really cute. And that totally helps your message because you guys are white supremacists. But, really you're Hitler because, most Jewish people were Caucasian. So, and 666,000 Jews died in the Holocaust. So they don't even really care at this point what color you are. It's whether or not you are standing behind them with a white sheet over your head saying horrible, horrible things about minorities, which I will not repeat on this channel. Not even in a quote at this point, because it is so ridiculously outlandish that it does not bear repeating. Like, no, there's no point. So I'm getting upset. Sorry about that. But it's not acceptable. And you can't have it both ways. You can't have it where, oh, we're white supremacists and only minorities are, gum on our shoes. And at the same time, anybody who's white and marching with the minorities for change is all of a sudden not white to us. Like, really? That's not how it works. And I don't really care if I have white friends who don't believe or agree with me, because quite frankly, I have such a limited amount of friends that I highly doubt any of my friends would feel that way. And if they do, somebody needs to be texting me and telling me goodbye. Because I don't think they're going to, because I don't associate myself with the closed-minded. I generally don't even radiate or gravitate towards people like that, because please believe I will be one of the first people to tell somebody to go themselves if they irritate me. And I don't give a damn what color you are. If you're a douche, I will tell you what I think. I'm not shy about it, because I don't care so much about friends that I won't tell you my honest opinion or the truth. Yeah, so planet Earth is round, by the way. Let's just get that out of the way, and I'll lose whatever friends still think the planet's flat. I'm basically using like every product I own, by the way. So if anybody thinks that my face is getting steadily more darker, and you guys are noticing that my eyes are getting redder and redder, that's because that's exactly what's happening. That's not the camera. I'm just bored and running through like all of my flippin' makeup one thing at a time, because that's what I'm doing. But, like I said earlier, if we're really going to have change, and there's a girl here on YouTube who I follow, and I really respect her. Her handle, I don't know if it's her real name, but her handle is AKA Aislinn. She's the girl with the really pretty rainbow hair most of the time, like straight rainbow hair. And she a lot of times will have rainbow makeup on too. She is very well spoken, and she's very human, I guess is a good word. I really like her, and she is also Black Lives Matter. She is not doing a video this week for her usual makeup looks because of Black Lives Matter, and she's posting a whole bunch of links and stuff for information and donating and everything. And I really, really, really respect her and appreciate her. And she even told people on her channel, and she's got like thousands and thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of followers, that if they don't agree with her, they need to unsubscribe from her, because she straight does not want to, she doesn't want to be supported by somebody who doesn't believe that Black Lives Matter. So I really respect the fact that somebody with that kind of a platform is willing and happy to put their money where their mouth is, almost literally saying that, hey, I don't want your money if you are a white supremacist dickhead. So, yeah, it's very refreshing to see that in celebrity. And especially, I mean, you'd have to watch her video, and I highly recommend that you do. But she was very poignant and very just straight up KMA if you guys don't agree with me, because I don't care, first of all, and second of all, like, this is for real. Like, this is not make-believe. It is not, just for funsies. It's not a stunt. It's not something that I'm doing to, just get attention. She straight is 100,000% Black Lives Matter. Sorry, I got makeup on my piercing because I'm doing makeup while distracted. I don't recommend that. Annie Wash. And so while you guys are out there, and she said that she was going to go protest, and I highly agree that everybody, even if you're not directly affected, like, even if you don't know somebody who has been abused, mistreated, or killed by the police or government because of their color, you should do something. Even if you just speak up. Like, I've been talking for 45 minutes. I am the only person listening to me right now. And quite frankly, that's fine, because I'm going to post this and I'm going to put it out. And if people want to watch it, super. If they don't, I spoke my piece. So it's important for people to use their voice to speak up when something's not right, you know? And what's happening right now, it's not right. There's nothing that's okay about this. And we as humans need to do something about this. So I'm speaking out. I'm going to find as many petitions as I possibly can to request change. I'm definitely voting that irrevocable asshat out of the White House, because he never should have been there in the first place. And, you know, anybody who voted for him who doesn't think they made a mistake, I would like to know why you think you made a good decision. Now, I can tell you straight up, my boyfriend voted for Trump. And he and I have had this conversation. And he said to me that Trump had good policies and he's been good for the economy, especially in the town that my boyfriend lives in. Okay. But what about the person? What about I can't even call him a man justifiably. What about him? And he's like, oh, well, he's an asshole. Okay. Did you know that when you voted for him? Yeah. Okay. Let's just go over this, party people. You cannot just vote for somebody who has or promises good policies. Okay? If you can't stand behind that person morally, don't vote for them, please. You know, and I love you, baby. I do. And my boyfriend and I have a strict no politics conversation policy, because we just it's a fight going somewhere to happen is what it is. And it's not worth either of us getting upset, because he believes what he believes. I believe what I believe. And that particular topic has no bearing on a relationship. And I'm not willing to let it ruin the relationship that I have with him over that. It's not worth it. He is worth more to me than how I feel about politics. So, but just as an overall public service announcement, if you can't morally stand behind the person that you're voting for, don't vote for them. If you have any qualms at all about the person, you know, I'm very happy that I live in a write-in state, because if anybody on the ballot is not worth voting for, I will write in somebody who is. Because even if they're not running, you are still voicing your vote of none of these people deserve to be there. This person is better. And don't just write in like God or, you know, something that's, I mean, I'm sorry, but God is not going to come down here and sit in the White House for 8 years. He's just not. Make it something reasonable. You know, one of the people who was running but dropped out, or one of the people that was running but they didn't get chosen as the party leader or whatever. I don't really know what it's called. You know, if you genuinely believe that they would be the best fit and do the best job for this country, not just for yourself, not just for people in your own circumstance, but everybody. Everybody should benefit from the decisions that you are trying to make on behalf of this country. Then vote for that person. But, lesser of two evils has never been a good reason for anything. It's like Hillary Clinton, Trump. No. Neither was good. And so people automatically assume that if it's just Hillary Clinton or Trump on the docket, and that's all you can choose from. No. Because even if you're picking the lesser of two evils by you voting for the lesser, then you are silently giving them your support. And you could be the one vote that puts that person in office. Or the small margin that puts that person in office. And it's all the trouble that we've gone through the last 3.5 years is not worth lesser of two evils kind of issues. This can't keep happening. And, people sitting at home going, oh, I want change. I want to make things happen. I want change. Then get off your assets and make change. If you don't want to go and walk the protests, and you don't want to go and, sign petitions, which is easy, and you don't have money to donate, then vote the idiotic, ostrich ass backwards people that are causing this trouble or letting it continue out of office. It doesn't matter what level. If your mayor has a KKK t-shirt, his ass needs to go. If your governor or your council members or all the way up to the Oval Office is a sadistic, insert bad enough word here, because with as expansive as my vernacular is, I can't even think of the right word right now. Vote them out. Complacency is just as bad as cooperation. There is no neutral. You can't just sit on the sidelines and watch, because your inaction is just as much of a problem as you voting for the people causing the issue. If you're not going to do anything, you might as well vote for the problem. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And so many people have so much more power and so much more of a voice than me. And it's so bothersome to me that they're not doing anything about this. It's actually very sad knowing that people who could do something, people who have the power, who could fix this, who could do what they need to do to make things correct in the way they should be in the land of the free, no. Nothing's free. And we haven't been the United States of anything for a long time. We haven't been united in anything. We are the 50 states of America. 51 technically, because Puerto Rico is important. Not that anybody that has anything to say about it will include them, but I believe that Puerto Rico is part of us. It's crazy, the fact that people continuously allow this to happen and go, well, I didn't vote for them. Well, did you vote for the other person? No. Did you vote at all? No. You didn't help. So just, indifference can do so much more damage than actual violence. And I really hope that there's something or someone or someone's somewhere that will be able to make things happen that need to happen. Because this should have stopped decades ago. Decades. And it's really scary when, no matter how much things change, they stay the same. And I'm seeing so many congruities between the current climate in this country and the movie V for Vendetta. Which, if you haven't ever watched that movie, just for a point of reference, you probably might want to look into it. It's very hard to watch, especially if you've been through any sort of trauma, really. If you've been sexually abused, if you've been kidnapped or harmed personally or killed, or if you have strong ties to the Holocaust or to any of the racial cleansings that have ever happened, it's kind of hard to watch. So be prepared for that. I don't recommend there being children in the room unless you'd like to teach them a hard lesson. But there are so many congruities between what we're seeing now and what we're seeing in the government in V for Vendetta, and it's insane. I really recommend that you watch it. It has a lot to say about current climate and how things are being handled at the levels that should be handling this much better. And all I can do is really pray. It's really difficult to watch the news because on the one hand, you see the protesters and the message they're sending and the message they're giving. And then on the other hand, you see the government just ignoring them. And, protests have happened in the past, and, change happened, but it doesn't happen fast enough. It just lingers and lingers and lingers, and whomever gets voted in this next term, and I'm not just talking about the White House, I'm talking everything, whomever gets voted in this next term, if they promise something, they better deliver. Because at this point, we are so close to a proper civil war, but it's not going to be the North versus the South. It's going to be us versus our government. And I hate to break it to the politicians of the world, but there's a lot more of us than you guys. The people of this country outnumber the politicians of this country several to one. And you guys may, have control over the guns, the weapons, the armies, the police, but the armies and the military and the police all have their own hearts. And if I'm not mistaken, and I may be, but if I'm not mistaken, the military has the right to disobey orders that are, it's some D word. I know the English phrase for it, not on. that, in order to kill an innocent civilian child for just standing there, that would be abhorrent. And the military in our country has the right to disobey that order because I can't think of the word, I'm so sorry. And at some point, they need to realize that the military is going to take on that ability and just go, look, I don't give a damn who you are. I don't give a damn what your rank is. I'm not doing this shit. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to attack innocent people for protesting in a country that gives them the right to protest. You would think that the people who are supposed to uphold the Constitution might actually read it once in a while. It's got to change this time. And I don't know, because of the COVID and everything, I haven't really been able to see much of a ballot or hear anybody's arguments on who thinks what about anything. So I can legitimately sit here and say I don't know who I'm going to vote for because I don't know what they're about. But I do hope that this current situation is going to really, really resonate with the people who are running for office, whether they're currently in office or running afresh, and make them speak up. Now is a time to stand your ground, America. Speak up. Say what you mean. Get rid of all the legalese and political BS. Just step up and say it. I care about human lives, or I don't give two shits about anything except myself. It shouldn't be politically offensive or affronting at all for somebody to just come out in the Queen's English and say it. Because at this point, it is an either or proposition. Either you care or you don't. And there is no us or them. It's you care or you don't. You care that people are dying on the streets for no reason. You care that our president currently sitting has more similar photos of him between Hitler than with anybody else in history. It's ridiculous, the fact that that man is still able to sit in that chair. I don't get it. Because, didn't they impeach him already? So why is he still there? Remove him. Because he is one of the worst rabble-rousers in the country. Where is it? There was a plastic thing, and now there is not a plastic thing. I will find it later. So I'm going to remain ever hopeful that whether you're of a different creed, different religion, different race, different anything, we're all human, and we need to make the good choices for humans, for Americans, for anybody living in this country. I don't care if you're here legally or not. You're a human being. You have the right to be in a home that you've earned and be safe. And I think that we could be looking at a serious problem if we can't get this fixed in this upcoming major election. And I really hope we do, because a lot of people, politicians mostly, and most particularly I've noticed Republicans, like to say that we're still the most powerful country in the world. We're really not. Especially over the last few years, other countries are looking at us going, what a bunch of clowns. You know? Even we're moving all of our stuff overseas because even our own companies think that our policies and everything are crap. Now, don't get me wrong. I completely understand that a lot of those companies are moving overseas because of our labor laws, which are actually quite good. But, it's something to be said when other leaders of countries around the world, whether, metropolitan or third world, are refusing to participate with our own government stuff because they're just so over the rubbish going on in this country that they don't want any part of it. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. On a human level, I don't blame them. So, I am fully, happy with anybody doing their own speeches or comments or hate mail, whatever you want to do. I don't let my daughter read the comments on my channel, so, say whatever you want about me, but this needs to be done. It needs to be over. It needs to be fixed, and if there's anything that I can do to help it along other than what I'm already trying to do, please let me know, because it's everybody's job. It's everyone's problem. Because at this point, and that phrase that I heard the other day kind of points it out above anything else. Where the white supremacist was like, well, if you're white and marching with them, then you're not white anymore. So it's everybody's problem, because these people don't care what color you are anymore. All they care about is if you're willing to follow their rhetoric, if you're willing to be under their boot and do whatever they say and follow whatever they think. So if they were to succeed, in an alternate universe, if they were to succeed in removing all people of color from the world and it was just white people, trust me, they'd find something else to do. They'd find some reason to come out after you, because that is what they do. Next, it'll be you're too poor, or like Hitler, you have the wrong hair and eye color, or you believe the wrong thing. You're the wrong religion, you're the wrong this, you're the wrong that, you don't agree with this. They will find a reason to come after others if we allow them to continue gaining in momentum. So anybody sitting at home going, this isn't my problem, it doesn't concern me, yeah, it is. It's everybody's problem, because people like this, who are fueled by hatred and do nothing but demonize and terrorize everybody, that's all they know. It's all they know how to do. There is no compassion in a heart that can hate that way. And don't get me wrong, there are all of 3 people in my life that I actually can say that I hate them. But 2 of them I hate because they hurt my child. And I don't believe that you have any business harming my child to try to hurt me. If you want to hurt me, come at me. I will take a swing. I will let you put me in the hospital, which has happened before. But you don't touch my babies. Psychologically, physically, mentally, emotionally, I don't care. You don't touch my kids. And so those two people I'm going to forever hate because of the damage they did to my daughter. Fortunately, she is okay now. And we have done a lot of work to get her past what has happened. But I will never forgive those two people. The other person that I hate is because they hurt me. And at first, I thought it was just because of where I came from. But after 10 years, I finally figured out that it's just because of my race and because I wasn't good enough. Well, to this day, I can tell you that this person still does not care for me and never will. And I no longer care. Because as much as I hate this person for everything that was done to me, I can also successfully say that it no longer rules me. Just like the other two no longer rule me with my hatred of them. And it took a while to get past. But the people who are attempting to commit genocide, you can't get past that kind of hate. There is no fixing that kind of irrational and just driven hatred of a certain characteristic or person or persons. But it is infectious, and you have to be careful not to get that infection because it is more deadly than COVID. It is more deadly than polio, than smallpox, than Ebola, than the Black Plague. Hatred is the worst kind of disease. And it goes hand in hand with poorly educated, I guess is a good word for it. It's not the word I want, but I can't think of the one I want. Not knowing the difference. Well-intentioned ignorance is no excuse for anybody to allow this kind of atrocity to continue. And, it really annoys me because the people in power for the last 16 years of the White House did nothing when they, of all people, had every ability to make change. And they didn't. And people for even decades before that, presidents did nothing. How can you have that much power, sit at that desk, make those speeches, and do nothing? You can't say. You can't say that those lives matter when you had the ability to change those lives forever and make laws, make people listen, and you did nothing. You cannot sit there and go, this is atrocious. Why isn't our current president doing anything about it? Well, firstly, he's an asshole. Secondly, he's very self-involved and cares only about himself and his pocketbook. And thirdly, why didn't you? You were in that chair. You were at that desk. You had access to the same pen, or in Trump's case, permanent marker. Why didn't you? I don't agree with him at all. But I never knew that the president could do things like executive orders. And if any of the previous presidents had done an executive order about racial equality back then, we wouldn't have this problem now. I feel like there's something we can do. I just don't know what's going to work. But we got to find something. This can't continue. We can't keep doing the same dances. You know, Einstein said that the definition of insanity was doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Well, welcome to insanity. I really hope that something goes well. And, you know, I really hope that we get a person of color in the White House. I know that right now, like, the two majors are the idiot and Biden, and he's supposed to be picking a female of ethnic origins as his vice president. But genuinely, I hope he's just the front man if he gets elected. And I hope that whoever he chooses as his running mate is educated and verbal, very verbal, and very just all about getting stuff done. Because if anybody could remove the red tape, it's the White House. We've seen it with idiot Mittens in the Oval Office. He goes around Congress all the damn time, you know? And quite frankly, if we're going to have a bipartisan Congress, Senate, House, however the hell that works, they shouldn't be there. Because it's literally a stalemate. This side cancels out this side cancels out this side. How is anything going to get done? Oh, wait, it doesn't. It can't happen that way. You know, if the Congress and the House can't pull their heads out of their sixes and just work together like they're supposed to, you know, here's this bill that's coming in and helping the people, legitimately helping people. And there's not all this background crap helping a whole bunch of big communities and big corporations. It's just about the people. There should not be a discussion. There should be a queue out of any door in that building waiting for everybody to put their name on that bill and sign it into law. There should be a queue going to the White House to hand it over to the sitting president and go, here, this needs your signature. There shouldn't be a conversation. If there is a completely abhorrent law that comes through, we're going to kill everybody over the age of 50. That is abhorrent and disgusting. There should be no conversation. That should be the next thing on the burn pile. Literally set it on fire, ablaze, on the floor of the House right there. There is no conversation. There is no discussion. You know, our Congress and our government make things so flippin' hard and make it so much harder than it needs to be for no reason at all. And this whole, oh, well, this bill supports these big businesses and blah, 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 and this gives these people money. Okay, first of all, anybody making more than $1 million a year doesn't need to be making that much, okay? $1 million a year in personal income. I'm not talking about companies and corporations. If you guys sell $6 billion worth of your product that you busted your butts to put out there and invent and all that, go ahead. But personal income, the richest person in this country should not make more than $1 million in a year. Ever. And I'll even go after taxes. Okay, we'll say after taxes, they should not make more than $1 million a year. But we have people in professional sports and this and that and the other thing who are all making $36 million deals. So $36 million a year. Flipping the Kardashians are making millions of dollars a year. No. I will tell you right now, I make $30,000 a year busting my butt. And that is gross. That's not net. And I have 3 babies at home. But we do just fine. Thank you very much. So, is it a struggle sometimes? Yes. But I still have the ability to help others, not in spades, but to help others. And that means a lot to me, to be able to help my neighbors, to be able to take my mom out to dinner once a month to her favorite restaurant because she's working 2 jobs technically, busting her ass and getting no breaks ever. Being able to do nice things. I bought my boyfriend's mom a Mother's Day gift. Now, I will tell you, my boyfriend and I have been together for 9 months, and I think of him as part of my family. And in extension, or by extension, his parents are part of my family. And so I got his mom and his stepfather Parents' Day presents that I haven't been able to deliver, obviously, because of COVID and the lockdown. But, I have the ability and the flexibility to do little things like that. And if I find, an organization that, I can donate like maybe $1 or $10 or $20, or if I get my tax return and I have extra, I will give that. I give what I can to who I feel deserves it. Like disabled veterans. I think it's DAV is the disabled. Why am I missing the A? I'm not sure. Could be DVA, Disabled Veterans of America. I'm not sure. But I donate to them. And I donate when I can. And when I have more, I give it. I don't know of any other reasonable causes, but that's because my whole life has been military. And so the veterans associations and stuff are just things that I'm familiar with. I am going to go look at AKA Aislin's post again to get links for the organizations that are helping with the Black Lives Matter movement and see what the expectation for donations is. Because obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic. I haven't worked since March 23rd, and there's not a lot of money. But I think that it's important for people to put their money where their mouth is. And I'm going to do that. So I really hope that there's a resolution, and it's currently 6:50 on the East Coast, which means that the evening protests should be starting pretty soon if they haven't already. And I really hope that everybody stays safe. But, if you're going to be telling people that it's not okay to do things just because they feel like it, then you have to do that within your own area. And I don't want to say your own group or your own membership because that's not right. A lot of the people that are starting or causing most of the problems aren't even from the towns or cities that they're causing the problems in. So I can't even say that it's like your group or anything, but you guys are all pretty close together in these protests. So if you are next to somebody who you don't know from Adam and they're saying, hey, the bricks are in the back of the car, or they're carrying smoke bombs, or they're carrying bricks, or, they're causing trouble and mayhem, it then becomes your responsibility to police them. There is such a thing, and you guys can look this up. There is such a thing as a civilian's arrest, I think it's called, where a civilian can make an arrest of someone causing trouble until the officers or the law enforcement people arrive. If somebody's starting shit in your own town, a town that you are currently trying to protect from unwanted and unnecessary violence, then put them under a citizen's arrest and drag their ass, if you have to the nearest police officer and go, here's what this is going on. I'm going to go protest peacefully now. You can have this piece of garbage. You know, if you guys really want to be heard, then you're going to have to be heard through the din of violence, riots, and stupidity that is clouding your message. And the only way that's going to happen is if you guys weed out these people before they get anywhere. Like, especially like if you're in let's say Alabama, and you see somebody with a Kansas license plate get out of their car holding a brick, that person is not from your neighborhood. Tell them to go home. Don't hurt them, but tell them to go home. That they have no business ruining your neighborhood, and that they obviously are not part of the actual movement. They are just here to start trouble. If they don't leave, then drag them to the nearest officer. Take a picture of their face. Take a picture of their license plate. Go give it to a cop you trust. And everybody's got one of those. Everybody's got one cop that they don't hate completely, even in these urban areas. You know, you may not really like him, but he's the least shady of the department. Go give it to him and be like, look, this is what I heard. This is what I saw. Here's his information. I'll be over here with the peaceful protesters, and I'm going to let you guys do what you do. Because, you know, you can't try to be getting involved so much that you get hurt by these people, because at that point, they are probably not smart enough not to hurt you. But it is your job to keep the peace, you know? It's just like, you know, I keep hearing, like, George Floyd was not violent. Eric Garner was not violent. And it's not holding up their memory to allow the violence to cloud the message on their behalf. Like, how is that going to help? It's not. Because so long as the news crews are reporting on the broken windows and the crying shop owners and, you know, the fires and the deaths and the arrests, nothing's getting through. You guys aren't going to be able to be heard through the cloud of horseshit that other people are putting all over you and your message. So stop it before it starts. You know, you guys know who's in your neighborhood. You know people. And most people can tell by someone's body language if they're up to no good. You know, I know a lot of people who grew up in urban areas that could tell, like, a drug dealer just by how he carried himself, who could tell, like, a violent person who was getting ready to jump somebody just by their body language. You guys can probably tell how somebody's going to act because they're trying to look non-conspicuous in a crowd full of people who aren't conspicuous. So, you know, if you really want your message to stay pure and justified like it actually is, then you got to get out the people who are trying to ruin it for everybody. Because the stench of hatred is just going to be all over. And you're not going to be able to fix it so long as all that nonsense is going on. But I'm praying for you. I'm absolutely praying for you. I hope that tonight goes well. And I hope that everybody stays safe. I hope that anybody who watches this understands my point. And I hope that, the right people, the people who can make a difference, can actually enforce the change that we are asking for, are moved and struck by your message. Because we, the people, built this country. And we, the people, will take it back. And I know that Americans, by definition of being Americans, will do it by force if we have to. Because look at how this country started. So it is entirely possible that this could go bad. Really bad. And for the sake of everybody directly involved in the protests, the legit protests, I hope it doesn't. And I hope that you guys are all blessed with a really good guardian angel who's going to watch over and walk with you. And, just remember, keep the peace in your heart. And don't let the stench and viral plague of hatred get you. Because we are better than that. And I think to close this video, I'm going to go to a very powerful song that speaks to everybody. It's Born This Way by Lady Gaga. And in the song, she actually addresses multiracial and gender identity issues. And I think that more inclusivity in music is important. So I think that the words are important to follow because we're all human, all of us. So here goes. My mama told me when I was young, we're all superstars. She pulled my hair, put my lipstick on, in the glass of covered glass. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. Hold your head up, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Love yourself and regret, just love yourself and you'll say I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no world away. Baby, I was born. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Live yourself prudence and love your fans so they can rejoice the truth. Not religion of the insecure, there must be my self-respect, my youth. Nothing though is not a sin, receives capital H-I-M-A. Son of a biscuit. Yeah. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't love yourself and regret, just love yourself and you'll say I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no world away, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, it ain't no world away, baby, I was born, I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Way. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Whether you're broke or evergreen, you're black, white, beige, your lettuce, you're Lebanese, you're Orient. Their disabilities have left your trust or liberties. You must love yourself today, 'cause baby, you were born. I gotta get straight up by lesbian, transgender. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born to survive. No matter black, white, or beige, chola or Orient, I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Wonderful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Love yourself and you judge. Just love yourself and you'll say, I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no world away, baby. I was born this way, baby. I was born this way, born this way. Ooh, there ain't no world away, baby. I was born. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. I was born this way. I was born this way. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. I was born this way. I was born this way. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Yeah. Same DNA, but born this way. Same DNA, but born this way. Thanks for listening. Just keep praying. Toodles.